So the first slide that we're looking at, this is one from Livy Hillman. And Livy has kind of very kindly put together some slides for us of all the things that she sort of noticed and have changed her mindset and are keeping, I guess, at the front of her mind when she's out and about and with what she's doing. So the first one is around the Climate Change 2023 Synthesis Report. And a message from Liv is that it's a recent publish of the Intergovernment Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, and it details how, sadly, global warming is happening faster than we'd anticipated, and the impacts that it's going to have because of that speed will be more severe than first predicted. She said it's highly recommended as a really good read. I suspect it will be slightly alarming, but it's definitely one that we need to have eyes wide open with. So if anybody has some time, do go in, have a look at the report, read through. And obviously, if anyone has any questions, then Sophie and Liv will be best placed to kind of answer any of those as our climate change experts and sustainability experts across the business. The second one is the chilladors in Livy's local Aldi are helping to save energy and communicate with a positive message. So they've obviously changed their messaging for all of their chilladors, which I think is great because it just keeps it at the front of everyone's mind when they're out shopping and out and about. Third one, eco delivery. So everything is delivered within 2 to 3 days. It's free and it's an upgrade to standard delivery. And they're going to plant 1 tree for each order placed, which I think is great. So it's a use of sustainable transport and tree planting. So you get a win-win there on both of those. The third picture, sorry, the picture down at the bottom, which I'm very envious about with the turtle picture, is actually Liv's off on her holidays to Bali. So she's been researching anything that she can do while she's out there. And she's also been trying to understand the impact of global warming on marine life around Bali, and the coral bleaching. And she's managed to come across some really great coral restoration and sea turtle conservation projects, which she wants to support. So she may well be using some time from one of her volunteer days while she's out there to go and support with both of those projects, which obviously will be fantastic projects to get involved with. And I hope she has a wonderful time, even though I'm extraordinarily jealous that she's going there. And then the last one in the middle, well, in the middle, we've got soft plastic recycling at the local Tesco's for items such as cereal bags, bread bags, salad bags, plastic film lids, fruit punnets, pasta packaging, etc. So that's really great because I think that's something we don't necessarily all generally look to recycle all of the time. So if you've got stuff at home that you can't recycle in your normal recycling, then definitely worthwhile keeping an eye out for anything that's there at your local supermarket. And then the final one is on the right hand side here that you can see. Bear with me, sorry, slides have just gone, which is about eliminating waste from disposable plastic bottles. So that again is something that, you know, she's very keen on doing, and it adds the number up. So all of those numbers that add up, it gives you some more information about how well you're doing individually to be able to help. So that's all of Liz's things that she's sort of taken away and is focusing on at the moment in the background. Sophie's also sent some slides through because Sophie can't be with us today. And the first one, so the next slide, please, if that's okay. The first one that Sophie, oh, we've just had a message that someone's daughter is travelling through Asia and instead of sunbathing is, I can't see the message, bear with me. Let me just get that whole message up. Sorry, guys, my internet's not playing ball today, so everything's very slow. Here we go. So it's Tracy May's daughter is travelling in Asia, and instead of sunbathing on her down days, she's in the local restaurant, has asked for bin bags, and she goes off to the beach to clean the beach on her own. That's amazing. So wonderful. Anyone that can do that, you know, absolutely fantastic stuff to do, helping the local community and helping the world in the process. So fabulous. So this is Sophie's children. So Sophie's been cutting fuel. Her Tesla has arrived. The kids are extremely excited. Her kids, just like me, the thing they were most excited about was the fart noise, just to let you know, in the Tesla, which obviously comes free with the Tesla, which entertains everybody no end. And that's had Sophie's kids amused for the last couple of weeks while that's come through. She's now a 2 EV car family. So both her and her husband both have EVs. So they've cut traditional fuel completely out of their lives. which is wonderful. And then on the right hand side, which was a hint and tip that Sophie took away, I think it was on our octopus webinar, that was to place the Aira near a radiator and put a cover over the top, the wet cover over the top, to help dry your clothes more quickly. And she said that has been working incredibly well, and has she's taken that on board as a hint and tip. So anyone else that has been doing that one is fabulous. She's also, next slide please, Neil, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. Sophie's also managed to convince her kids to convert their play area into a wildlife area. So it's the biggest project that they're carrying out this year. The kids have agreed, which is fantastic. Sophie has made and installed the new water butt that you can see in the right hand side of the picture there, with some help from members of the family. And this is the new pond that they've put in place, the new wildlife pond, and the kids are very excited about the fact that they will hopefully be getting some frogs soon to come along. And so a couple more, so who else has said? There's someone that said, where are we? Here we go. Adam said the fart machine works best on boombox, he's found. So anyone that's got a Tesla, there you go, you can amplify the sound for all of your noises in your Tesla. Tracy, absolutely agree. You know, it does look amazing. So she's done a fantastic job with that wildlife garden and the water butt. I'm very envious that she's actually made that water butt herself as well, which I think is quite an achievement in itself. So we might well have to put our orders into Sophie to get those for our own houses. And then the next slide, please, Neil, if you wouldn't mind. So this is one of my slides. So I did the big garden watch this year. Really enjoyed it. I'm not a great birder, so for me it was really interesting. Fascinating talk that we had originally around that as well, which I thought was just brilliant. Some of the information that came out of that one, which was, I think, the session with Paul Sheridan, I've increased the variety of bird food that I now put in the garden. So I've made all sorts of different varieties, including making homemade pine cone fat balls, which I now place outside on the tree. And I've actually got an increase in blue tits, great tits, long-tailed tits, robins. I've had passing sparrows, some blackbirds. And as you can see on my photo here, these are some of the ducks that have visited my garden from the pond, have now come in to clear up on the ground when the smaller birds peck away at the top. So that's been really successful, and I've really enjoyed that. So thanks, Paul, for all those hints and tips on that particular session. I also did the food colouring trick that Steve Barton told us about when we were doing the Using Water Wisely session. And lo and behold, I had a leaky loo valve. So I have adjusted the stopcock, and I believe, although I'm going to throw this one out to everybody, can anyone remember how many litres of water it saves if you don't have a leaky loo? Can anyone remember? It was definitely in the thousands, but I can't quite remember how many thousands it was. Have a guess. Yeah, Tracy's saying tons, exactly. So everyone put in the message box if you can remember how many litres of water it saves without having a leaky loo valve. And for anyone that wasn't on that webinar, Steve told us that if you have a leak that comes down the back of the loo, so the fresh water, if it doesn't cut off when you've flushed, it actually continues to leak into your loo, and it was in the thousands of litres of wasted water that literally just trickle into your loo if you don't have that sealed off. So really good tip. And I've done that and managed to kind of change that around. And the other thing that I'm looking at is swapping my heating for an air source heat pump, which is what the other picture is that you can see here, courtesy of our octopus chat. 800 litres, could be Sarah. I don't actually know. I can't remember. I know it was a lot of litres. So if we could all do that, we could save thousands of litres across the piece. But yes, an air source heat pump, which I'm hoping to get installed into a new house that I'm building. Looking into that at the moment so that I can come away from conventional fuel and into air source heat pumps to get that through the house and keep me nice and toasty warm during the winter. 400 litres a day, Ryan thinks, could well be, absolutely. So that's me, that's Sophie, and that is Liv as well on our updates as to what we've been doing. Can I throw it out to you? What have you managed to pick up from the webinars so far? What have you been doing and changing in your world?
So many little changes, Sophie's loads of stuff. The big garden bird watch was great. Lots of little tips to save money and reduce waste. And just one initiative I wanted to mention to people that people may already be aware of, Too Good To Go, which is a website and app that lets you buy, or as they say, rescue unsold food locally. So shops put up magic bags of surplus food at a reduced price. I was shocked by the amount of food that's wasted nationally and worldwide. And I actually ran this one past Liv to make sure I wasn't being greenwashed, because their environmental credentials are pretty hard hitting, and they do stack up. They're a B Corp registered company, and they're doing some great things. So you can save money, you can reduce food waste, you can get a magic bag of some nice treats of food from your favourite local shops at a reduced cost.
Fabulous. Thanks, Javi. That's a really, really good tip. So I'm going to throw it out to the audience now, throw it out to all of everybody who's on the call today. You can either put it in the chat and we'll read it out, or if anyone's brave enough to put their hand up and have a chat with me, I'd love that too. Has anyone else been able to put stuff in place? Amanda Manning, thank you. What have you been changing in your world?
That's okay. A few things. I've got a new EV car that I bought through the Octopus scheme that we offer at work. I'm not entitled to a company car, but as those of you that know, that we run an Octopus car leasing scheme for EV cars. It's a salary sacrifice scheme, so it comes out of your salary and then you get taxed on the amount that's left. It's really easy to do for those that haven't done it. It's really easy to calculate. You put in your salary, how many years you want the car for, how many miles you think you're going to be doing, and it comes up with a whole host of cars across the board. I've got a Peugeot 2008, but they've got the 208s, they've got BMWs, Mercedes on there, Teslas if you want one, some smaller ones. I think there's a little Fiat on there, a little VW camper van. There's everything. So I've got one of those. I got that last Friday, which was rather nice. And I remember listening to the guys from Octopus, and I've changed my energy usage to Intelligent Octopus. I don't know if anyone else has had that. Because I've got my car through Octopus, I have to have Octopus as well. But I was with Bulb anyway, who were bought by Octopus. So I'm now with on an Intelligent Octopus rate, which is where you plug your car in overnight and it picks and chooses when it is cheapest to charge. So I get a report in the morning, and it might charge between 11 and 5. It might charge different times, but it's costing me pennies at the moment to charge it, which is a result. So that's a major change of ours. Some things that I've been doing at work. I've purchased some eco merchandise recently, so some trolley coins that are made out of condensed wheatgrass, and some everlasting pencils which are made out of graphite that never go blunt, so you never have to throw it away. So lots of different things for ground control as well.
Fantastic. Thanks, Maddie. There's loads going on there. You've been really busy. Loads of changes. It'd be really interesting to find out what that equates to in carbon reduction for your footprint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fabulous. I've got a message in the message box which was from Pete Wogan, which said his partner and he have been offered a plot of land on a slope, and they're investigating the chance of building a subterranean shipping container home because they're planning to be off grid. That is super exciting. So if you do go ahead with that, Pete, keep us updated, because we want to know the travel plans for that, and we want to know where it is, what you're doing, how you're doing it, and it'd be great to follow that across the pieces to how you're getting on. So good luck. Keep fingers crossed for you for that one. Wonderful. So Jane has and Jane's also put in the chat that you've also put a plastic brick filled into the water toilet. So Jane, talk us through what happened there. What did you do?
Well, it's a good way of saving water. When I worked for Thames Water, they encouraged everybody to do it. So you can just get plastic bottle filled with water, or you can buy a proper plastic brick, put it in the top of your toilet, and it reduces the amount of water that goes through the flushing system.
Wonderful. That sounds really, really good. So that, and does it say how much that actually reduces, Jane? Do you know at all? Is it sort of 50% or?
I'll have to Google it, but
that's right.
Yeah, we'll do that later, Justine.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be good to find out. Adam, hands up.
Yeah, so I was quite surprised at this one. The boiler flow temperature of your water, turning that down to about 50 or 60 degrees. I thought it was going to have an impact on obviously how hot the water would be, but I was shocked. I was expecting complaints off the other residents of the Dower household that the shower wasn't warm, and to date I've not had any complaints. However, it seems to elongate their time in the shower, which is something that I need to stop. And the other one, which was a Martin Lewis one, was a dehumidifier in the room that you are drying your clothes in. Seems it works well, especially if you've got the heating on low as well, to dry the clothes. Word of warning though, you need a decent sized dehumidifier, not one that's about way big, because I think you burn more energy trying to keep the thing going than anything else. But that worked well because we got a bigger one and it does dry clothes a lot quicker. So that's what we've done.
Okay, cool, good hidden tip. Neil's also put in the chat that he's signed up for the Green Runners Initiative. Neil, do you want to chat us through what that looks like?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I suppose it's, as a runner, you're committing to what they call their 4 pillars. So it's looking at how you move about the country. In other words, being careful, that I don't suddenly book myself in for 3 different weekends of races up in Scotland. So you're looking at kind of travel and that kind of stuff. You're trying to commit to not buying lots of new running gear. So basically running stuff until it falls apart, or, repurpose it. Looking at things like, if you've ever been to a race, how often you'll be running past empty gel packets and things like that. So minimising food packaging waste, and then also kind of speaking out and advocating for environmental issues as a runner. So, there's a lot of races out there now where they no longer offer plastic cups. You actually have to carry your own little cup if you want to use water at water stations and things like that. So it's lots of advocacy for kind of environmental stuff as in general.
And I would imagine, actually, if you're going to a big function like the marathon or even a half marathon, sort of anywhere across the UK, there would be a significant amount of single-use plastic. So by going to that initiative, it will really make a big reduction for those big events.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a huge amount. So again, a lot of the time now you can specifically buy little collapsible cups you can take with you.
Fab. Thanks, Neil. Thanks for sharing that. So anyone who's a keen runner, I know, Adam, that's probably going to be of interest to you, certainly amongst other people on the call. So fab stuff. Pete's shared a rough plan of the plot, but it's not to scale. And as Sarah said, if you need any help with bees, we have a beekeeper in our business for sure. And Pete's asked if anyone has got any information on solar or septic tanks that anyone's come across. Could we share it with Pete across the board? Because that would be really useful to you. I'm really jealous, Pete. I want to know more about this project. That looks really quite exciting. I'm very interested in what's happening there. Any questions from anyone else across any of the sort of webinars that we've had so far? Anything that you'd like to see more of, or anything that you wanted sort of an update on or to share? Not yet, no. Okay, so what I'm going to do is tell you what we've got coming up next month. And hopefully, actually, let me go through the pillars first. So if I go through the pillars with you and just to remind everybody of sort of the opportunities that we have. So the 7 pillars that we have around the choices of 7 habits, which are around the choices to help us to reduce our carbon footprint, are to avoid single-use items, to make smart transport choices, can't get my teeth in, to make smarter choices on what you eat, to use resources wisely, to green your finances, connect with nature, and to get involved, give back and volunteer. So those are our 7 habits. And obviously all of those sit against the pillars of social value, enhancing biodiversity, carbon net zero, or responsible materials. So anything that anyone has or wanted to discuss sort of moving forward, just give any one of the Evercare team a hint that you'd like to see something around any of those pillars, and then we can obviously try and reach out to someone externally to get some more information. So coming up next month, we've got Javi and his team at procurement having a chat through the GC supply chain and sustainability. So the initiatives and steps that we're taking in ground control for a sustainable supply chain. We've got Zoe Haynes, who's one of our contract managers in GM. She's going to be joining us to talk about reaping the rewards of allotment gardening and how she uses her allotment for her mental health and well-being, as well as for producing all sorts of wonderful things to both eat and to plant on. Sophie's going to be chatting us through our GC net zero targets. So they've all now been finalised, and what that roadmap looks like and how we all individually and as teams and as a business can support to make sure we reach those net zero targets. And we've also got our wonderful Chris Bawtrey coming to join us to talk us through the GC journey for nature recovery at Wildfell. So lots of different stuff across the piece. really different and interesting webinars that will cover all different aspects of how we can start to reduce our carbon footprint, how we can help hopefully to keep that increase in climate change under 1.5%. I would encourage everybody to go away and read the sustainability report if you can on climate change that Livy has suggested. I think it will focus and laser sharpen everybody's efforts into trying to reduce as much as we can individually, because that's how we're going to make that biggest impact. Is if we all make a few differences and a few changes collectively, it's going to make a bigger difference across the piece. Did anyone have anything that they wanted to add in the chat, or anything that anyone wanted to chat through before we disappear? If not, we'll go off and grab a cup of tea before next meetings.
Can I just grab the opportunity, Justine, I don't know whether everybody is aware, but we've got a biodiversity net gain webinar coming up. So I'll share the details for it. So if we can get it higher and wider into all of our customers, the more the merrier. We had over 450 subscribers to the webinar and attendees last time. So it's in line with everything that we do and everything we want to do with all of our customers. So I'll share the link in the chat. So as many people we can get signed up to, the better. So thank you.
Perfect, no problem at all. Anything anyone else wanted to add to get everyone involved with, or anything anyone wanted to share? No, all good. Okay, well, have a wonderful week, everybody. Thank you for all your brilliant updates. Keep up all the good work. It's those little changes that will have the biggest impact. Enjoy, have great weekends, and we'll see you next week.